I started using African textiles when I was the president of the Black Student Union in high school. So this is how long I've been carrying this dream of what I'm doing today. When I learned, as I said, about the textiles, I started traveling throughout Africa. And I started studying and learning the processes and techniques. So I went to Mali and learned how to make kente, bogalam, which is mud cloth. Then I went to, Nigeria and learned about Oshobo village where the master dyers are and the indigo makers. And I studied with them. And so as I traveled throughout Africa, as I said, I was inspired by the processes, the techniques and procedures that it takes to make these textiles. And so, being a textile artisan and fashion designer, I was like, I need to take this back to my people and let them hear and know and see and feel these textiles. So that's kind of where it started. I hadn't thought about a museum at that point. I just wanted them to know about the textiles because I was using them to make beautiful fashions. But as the people started more and more asking for the fabrics, like, do you have any more of that mud cloth? Do you have that kente? Do you have some of that? And so the appetite, I think, grew for my clientele. And so more and more I found myself teaching because they say, now tell me about the history of this cloth and tell me where this comes from. And so I found myself like creating a little dictionary on textiles. And it's like, okay, I want people to know. So, I moved to Africa and stayed in Africa for 14 years. Then when I came back, I had all this knowledge and information and all this creativity just bursting out. And I said, I'm going to do something with this. And I was on the plane coming back from the continent. I'll never forget it. I dozed off and something woke me up and said, African Textile Museum. I said, African Textile Museum? So it just hit my spirit. It was like a spiritual download, that I was supposed to create an African Textile Museum. Well, number one, I didn't know the first thing about an African Textile Museum, but I knew about all the African textiles. So I said, the museum part will work out because I know about the textiles. I can do this with my eyes closed. I came to meet Mr. Allen here at the New Black Wall Street. And he was so kind and gracious. But when I gave him my card and told him I was, creating an African Textile Museum, he's like, what is the African Textile Museum? And I started explaining to him my concept. And he was like, I don't understand that. Where's the revenue? Where's the revenue? Where's the money? I'm like, well, it's sponsored. I will get each country to sponsor their own exhibit inside the museum, which I just got my first country, y'all. I just got my first country to populate and sponsor an exhibit in the museum coming February 26th. Our first country, Uganda, will be installed in the museum. Well, we'll have the ribbon cutting. I'll be installing it this week. And they are bringing 5 presidential cabinet members. The Minister of Tourism is coming, Foreign Affairs, Agriculture, the Ambassador. They have the President of Uganda Airways with them. They have the Uganda Broadcast Corporation coming to document everything. So this is going to be a huge piece for the African Textile Museum. Not to mention that since starting the African Textile Museum, the first country that I get to come in and sponsor their exhibit is the oldest textile in all of Africa, the oldest process in all of Africa, cited by UNESCO as being a humanity and I don't know all the words, but they cited this as being a natural resource and you can't destroy the tree. You can't, it's like, this is true history and culture and we got to preserve this. So I was just like, look at God. Not only did he bless me to have the vision to open up the African Textile Museum. Then he sent me the oldest process in all of Africa to be our first installation. And guess what? They're going to be leaving their flag behind. And you know what that means.
Yeah.
When one flag starts flying, you know it's going to start something.
Yes, I do.
So I'm looking forward to many more African countries joining us. I'm looking forward to us having all 54 before we finish this journey, as well as throughout the diaspora. I'm going to Gully Land. I'm going to everywhere I can where there are people making indigo and techniques and quilting and any kind of textile process. I consider this my legacy, leaving something behind that will educate, preserve, and document our contribution to the world in fashion, tools, textiles, and techniques. Nobody else has done an African Textile Museum. There is not an African Textile Museum anywhere in the world. Can you imagine that? There are lots of textile museums, but no African Textile Museum. And we have more textiles than anyone in the world. So I thought, wow, this is amazing for me to be the one that God chose as the vehicle to usher in such an amazing project. And people have gathered around this project like nobody's business. People are coming in, like I have some sisters that come every day or at least 2 or 3 times a week. You say, I'm just putting something in the basket. I'm just putting something in the basket because we got to keep this going. We got to keep this in our community. People are really invested in this legacy because, like I tell them, this is not a me project, family. This is a we project. This takes a village. This takes a village for real. I couldn't do this by myself. It's my family, my friends, me and a dear friend of mine, my sister friend. We built this whole museum along with one brother that came and helped us hang some high stuff. But we did this. And for people to come in and marvel and reverence the space. Some people stand at the door and they say, do I have to take off my shoes? I'm like, no, you don't have to take off your shoes. But that is the reverence of the space. The people are so inspired and so in awe about what they're seeing. They never seen anything like this. I've never been anywhere like this. This is amazing. Who did this? Who came up with this? And so that alone is ensuring my legacy. Because not only do they come, I make them ambassadors. And when they come back, they bring Uncle Bob and them, Uncle Nettie and them. If the mother comes, they go come back with all the kids, the grandkids. So I see people 4 and 5 and 6 times coming back. And so we have this thing now, Madam Ambassador, Mr. Ambassador, because I say you're all my ambassadors. So when they come back and they bring their family and friends, I always bow and say, Madam Ambassador, thank you, Madam Ambassador. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ambassador. So it becomes a family affair, you know, so it's just amazing.
It is.
I feel the chills in my body because I'm 41 and never in a day in my life would I see a venue that's dedicated to us, for us and by us like Fubu. So this is beautiful. Like, I feel like shedding tears. I know my father, who's an ancestor, he's smiling down, you know, to see this. You know, I wish I could have been able to take him, bring him to a location like this.
Thank you, Maurice.
Not in my lifetime.
Thank you, Maurice. That's a beautiful state.